Thank you, everybody, for coming to the Aaron Torres Podcast YouTube page. If you could do me a quick favor, see that little subscribe button at the bottom of your screen? Go ahead, click that subscribe button. Really does help our channel grow, our audience grow, and I really do appreciate it more than you know. So click that subscribe button. Appreciate your support. Now, here's the video that you came here for. I got to say this, man. I cannot believe how quickly college football season has essentially come to an end. Now, the best part of the season is on its way. It's still coming, but we are down to 3 Saturdays of the college football regular season. Obviously, conference championship games will follow that. Then we'll get a little bit of a break for finals. We'll do portal stuff. We'll do recruiting. Then we get some bowl games. Then we get the playoff. Then we get the national champion. But we are down the home stretch of the season. And just as an example of how quickly things are coming to an end, Colorado, who we've talked obviously about a ton on this channel and this show, Colorado plays its final home game this weekend, Senior Day in Boulder, Colorado at Folsom Field. So it is incredible to think that Coach Prime, Deion Sanders, the Colorado Buffaloes, his first season as Colorado coach is coming to an end. We talked about it when he took the job, in the portal, his press conferences, in the offseason, the spring game. It's just amazing how quickly it's coming to an end. But I thought on Tuesday, he did a very interesting interview with Dan Patrick, Fox Sports Radio, talking about his season, what went right, what went wrong, but also his own future and future of the program, and specifically his son, Shedeur and Shilo. And so I bring it up because I do think he said a couple things that are worth discussing here on a little bit of a quieter midweek show. And I do want to talk about some of the things that he said with Dan Patrick, specifically, again, about his future and the futures of his sons. First off, Dan Patrick did ask him a question that quite a few people have asked over the course of the season. Could you one day see yourself in the NFL? Well, Coach Prime, as he's done basically all season long, shot that down immediately. He gave a great quote, by the way. Here's what he told Dan Patrick. He said, "I don't think I'm built for the NFL. I appreciate the game too much, and I respect the game so much and what the game has consistently done for me. When I see a guy getting paid millions and millions of dollars and he has no respect for the game, does not want to excel and exceed expectations of the game, I'm going to have a true problem. I'm too brutally honest, and I want to win that much, and I need everybody that respects the game, and oftentimes money clouds that judgment." He was then later asked, hey, what about your sons? Shedeur has obviously been projected as a high, potential first-round pick, depending on what mock draft you looked, what time of the year you looked. Coach Prime, as he's done as well, shot that down, saying, no. He said they're coming out at the same time next year. They're not going to leave daddy, not this year, by the way. So listen, I don't think that these are shocking, jarring, incredible quotes, but I do think they are worth discussing because I do think it starts to set the framework for what is going to happen here over the next 12 months at Colorado. Obviously, things started off well. They are not going well right now. But for people that think that Coach Prime is jumping ship, that think that his sons are jumping ship, think again. This is all building towards next season. Listen, we're trying to finish the season strong here. Obviously, it goes without saying. But obviously, again, there is a foundation that is being laid for the 2024 season as well. First of all, in terms of Coach Prime and his future, I do find it interesting, right? Doesn't it feel like every time something good or something bad happens, everybody's trying to pull him away from Colorado? Like when they were winning, I remember doing a video about this. When they were winning, there was a big article, CBS Sports, Dennis Dodd, I'm sure he's a nice guy, but there was an article, something about like, oh, it's prime time, but for how long? And the implication being like he's going to the NFL, he's going to take another college coaching job. I just don't see it. I don't see it. And it is funny, by the way, the opposite is true as well. Once they started losing, it became, well, I mean, he's obviously only there to coach his sons. The second that his sons leave, no, he won't be there anymore. I don't buy either of that. I've said it since this whole conversation started, frankly, in the beginning of September. I do think he's at Colorado for the long haul. Don't think it's a 25-year commitment, but who has a job for 25 years these days? Not very many people. So I bring it up because I do think he is going to be at Colorado for the foreseeable future. First of all, what he said is everything that I have heard from people that know him, people that have been around him, whatever. I truly believe that college is the place for him. I truly believe in, and I'm not breaking any news here, like I have some incredible insight that nobody else has. But in my opinion, I think he is going to be a college football coach as long as he wants to keep coaching. And it's for the reasons that he said. I think he truly loves the sport of football. I think he truly loves teaching the sport of football. But as I've said all along, I also believe that he genuinely enjoys the development of boys and young men into men. Not always pretty, not always fun. It's bumpy along the way. If you watch his videos on Well Off Media that his son produces, you can tell there's some frustration in this season, but you can also see the enjoyment that he gets walking into that facility every day, knowing that he is having an impact on young people's lives. And so the idea of him going to the NFL, and as he said, just being a guy who coaches a bunch of millionaires, I don't see him being interested in doing that. I don't see him interested in being paid millions of dollars, as he said, to coach other guys who are paid millions of dollars that don't have a passion for the sport, that don't show up ready to work, that aren't prepared, that don't like football in some cases. We've all heard the stories. I think it's Tony Gonzalez has said something like he believes that like 10% of people in the NFL truly love football. The other 90% are largely in it for a paycheck. So I bring it up because I do believe that he loves college, loves making a difference in young men's lives. And I do think he does get frustrated by those who do not love it. You know how I know? Because he's talked about it this year at Colorado. He has talked about his frustration with certain players, individuals showing up late, being unprepared, not on time, not coming back on time from, the bye week. Remember, after the bye week, he said something like, if they show up 1 minute late for our first meeting, they're off the team. We're cleaning out their locker. And so, listen, I don't think it's a college football control freak thing, but I do think he genuinely enjoys being around kids. But I do think I don't think he could be in that professional setting where a lot of guys are in it for the paycheck, do not love the sport. As far as Shilo and Shedeur are concerned, listen, two things. One, surprise, surprise, I'm not an NFL draft expert, okay? I don't know that, I'm not here to evaluate, tape and all of that as far as where Shilo and Shedeur match up relative to their contemporaries. And I'd also say this is one rule that I have on this show, whether it's for the NFL draft or the NBA draft. I never say what an individual should do. I don't know the person's, background, their family, their financial situation, how much they like school. Some kids just want to go pro. So I'm not here to tell anybody how to do anything. But I do think there probably is something to both of those guys coming back to college for another year. From Shedeur's perspective, it's interesting because you still look at the mock drafts. He's still up pretty high on a lot of them. Now, a lot of them are going to get updated and changed and will evolve as the season gets closer to a finish. But I think Shedeur still has some work to do at the college level. Now, they got to tighten up the offensive line a little bit. Make sure he doesn't get killed back there. But at the same time, listen, he's not the same prospect that he was after TCU, after Nebraska. Now, he might be the same player, but on the field, it has been a struggle. It's not a secret, whether it's his fault, the play calling, the offensive line, the lack of a run game, whatever you deem it to be. I'm not here to tell you that it's one this or one that. But at the same time, I just bring it up to very simply say, it doesn't feel like the NFL draft buzz is there. It feels like a guy like a Michael Penix has maybe passed him. And it feels like, he can get better as a quarterback, which, oh, by the way, we can all get better at our jobs. I could get better at my job, but you could get better at yours, whatever. The other thing that I was thinking about too, I do think there's a financial element to this as well. We also see these NIL valuations, and I think some of that stuff is a little bit of smoke. I don't buy all of it, but I just bring it up because I do think with Shilo and Shedeur, there is the very unique situation that they are in. They are on, I believe, frankly, a bigger stage in college in some ways than the NFL in some ways. Now, I'm not sitting here saying that, the reach of Colorado football is bigger than the NFL. That's not what I'm saying. But at the same time, I think the combination of playing for your dad, playing with each other, the reach that Colorado football has, I do think from a financial perspective, from an NIL perspective, you're going to make really good money playing at Colorado, and you're going to have really good exposure. And we've talked about this before. Like, you look at somebody like Shedeur. Shedeur is an incredible talent, a dynamic player, whatever. But where is he going to get more excitement and exposure? Playing for his dad always in the headlines, brother on the team, Travis Hunter on the team. Or is he going to get more headlines playing on a bad, Tampa Bay Buccaneers or Washington Commanders or whoever could end up drafting him? So obviously, look, money, I hate this. I hate whenever you hear people say, oh, they'll make more money playing college football. No, they won't, because they'd get salary plus endorsement opportunity as opposed to just NIL. But you look at Shedeur, you look at Shilo, I would assume financially they're doing very well at the college level. So I thought these comments were very interesting from Coach Prime. And like I've said from the beginning, I definitely don't see him going to the NFL, and I don't think he's going to another college either. It's also worth mentioning, not enough people talk about this element. His daughter plays on the Colorado basketball team. By the way, shout out the Colorado Lady Buffaloes knocking off the defending champion LSU Tigers to open the season on Monday. So his daughter is a redshirt freshman on the basketball team. He's got 2 sons that are going to be there for another year. And lastly, I would say he's not recruiting like a guy that plans on jumping ship the second that his sons leave. We've talked about it, but they have a high 4-star, low 5-star quarterback committed for 2025, Antoine Hill Jr. Just had a huge recruiting weekend this past Saturday for the Oregon State game. Jordan Seaton, many believe to be the top offensive tackle in all of high school football, was on campus. Draylon Miller, a 4-star wide receiver. King Joseph Edwards, a 4-star defensive lineman who has been projected to play for Colorado, to commit to Colorado, are there. So I'll tell you, the Dan Patrick quotes, I think, what I would say is, I guess to wrap this is, sometimes quotes aren't necessarily backed by actions. In my opinion, these quotes are backed by actions. This is a guy that I believe is built for the long haul, wants to be at Colorado, wants to coach college football, wants to see his son succeed, but also wants to see the other 83 guys in that locker room succeed as well. And bluntly, I don't think he's going anywhere. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe to the Aaron Torres Pod YouTube channel. Also, new episodes of the Aaron Torres Podcast every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get podcasts.